Okay, so this video originally was actually supposed to be just for my members, but I was like, you know what, since in BTC we got a huge move down and in a lot of alts we have seen significant drops, I think it might be better to make this one for the public and tell you what are my thoughts and why do I believe in Bitcoin. We are actually looking quite optimistic, and in altcoins there is a very good chance that not only our bull run is not over yet, but also we probably have hit some sort of a bottom. So with that said, hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're having a great time with your family and loved ones. And here's a very important point for you. In this video, I am going to show you some evidence that says I did actually see the current move down in BTC and alts coming, but I want to be very clear. I am only trying to get it right 6 out of 10 times, and that is pretty much it. You can definitely go back and watch my previous videos. For example, you can actually go and watch my ICP video, because in it I definitely said, look, it is, in my opinion, very unlikely for us to go down and take the lowest low around $5.8. And what happened? Definitely not that. We got a huge move down and we cleared all the lows. So I want to be very clear. Just because I got this one relatively right, that doesn't mean that I am right all the time. No, I definitely have my fair share of mistakes, and I'm not here to sell you any false hope. Understood? Excellent. Now let's start our video and see what is going on. And at the beginning, I want to talk about Bitcoin dominance. You see, for my members, when we were somewhere around, I believe, these areas, I was saying, look, in this move down in Bitcoin dominance, I need you to have your eyes on this important low right in here. Why was that? Because I said, if we're going to take this low at that point, there's pretty much no shot for us to find an impulse in this phase. And it means this is a correction structure and we are going to get a continuation of the move down. And at that point, we are probably going to see a lot of alts outperforming Bitcoin. And what happened? We definitely didn't get this move down. Instead, we got a move on the upside. Now, many months ago, I think not only I said this to my members, also I believe I made a video for the public, and in it, I actually talked about this unbelievably important area for Bitcoin dominance. And if you haven't watched that video, here is the situation. In Bitcoin dominance, I was saying, okay, this can be a decent area, but I don't believe that our move up is actually over right in here. Why was that? This is an unbelievably important resistance from weekly and daily time frame at the same time. And my argument was that, okay, we are going to reach to about this important region, and we are probably also going to reach to about this unbelievably important yellow area, which was a very clear gap that was created as a result of this move down right in here being way too fast. And you probably know my stance on gaps. I believe gaps 95+% of the time are going to get filled. So when we were around these areas, for me, made perfect sense to say, you know what, in Bitcoin dominance, we are actually going to reach to about here. And then we can start a big move on the downside, meaning you are going to see in that phase altcoins doing really okay. And what happened, as you can see, we finally got our move on the upside and we pinpoint nailed this area right in here. And here's the key. I don't believe that in Bitcoin dominance, we are really having right now any unfinished business, and we can actually overall for the next couple of months get our move down comfortably and start a solid altcoin season, which in that phase, I do believe that there's a good chance that we're going to actually take this low right in here about, let's say, 39%. So this to me is the first sign that suggests we are probably getting very close to a period of time which in it alts are going to most likely outperform BTC. Now, about the recent move down in Bitcoin and alts, before it actually happened, I made an emergency market update for my members and I said this. But whether the bottom is right in here or not, I'm kind of having my doubts, because time analysis suggests we should actually wait until here, and somewhere around this area we are going to form some sort of a bottom. That's why we need to be a bit patient. So what happened, as you can see, we actually got a decent move down. Now, if you don't know what is causing this thing, it's actually because of the tariff wars between the United States and Mexico, China, and Canada. And it is exactly because of that that I'm going to tell you right now. this move down in Bitcoin is actually going to continue a bit more. Why is that? What's days today? Today is Sunday. Tomorrow is going to be Monday and the stock market is going to open. And I promise you, you are going to see some serious moves on the downside in Dow Jones. And let's actually go on DJI. Okay, so this was the points that I made in the previous market update for my members. And as you can see in Bitcoin and also a lot of altcoins, we got some serious moves on the downside. And now it's actually time to talk about those moves. And let's start with Bitcoin and see what is happening. Let's go on H1 timeframe. Okay, so what's the idea in here? In my opinion, there's actually a good chance we are having an impulsive structure in this area, and followed by that, as long as we're not taking this low, we can argue this move down is a correction structure. Now, here's a very important point for you. This move down in BTC was actually as a result of some serious liquidations happening. And moves like this usually do actually mark some sort of a bottom. But is this enough of a reason to be bullish? No. You see, my field of works is Elliott waves, and if you want to argue, for example, we are going to have our final bottom around here, maybe this is like a very important support area, then okay, off of the lowest low in this region, you must be able to find a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulsive structure up. This specific example is a normal 5 wave. Rules for it are, we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of impulsive structure, wave 3 should not be the smallest wave. This is a big no-no in Elliott waves, and in terms of the subwaves, we must have 5 wave up into wave 1, 3, and 5. There we go. And for wave 2 and 4, for our corrections, we can have different scenarios. Let's say, yeah, ABC into 4 and a WXY structure into wave 2. Understood? Okay. Now let's go on the live chart and count some waves and see what is going on. And maybe it's best to go on 15-minute time frame. So here's the deal. In this move on the upside, we can have different possibilities, but most of them are actually bullish, suggesting that we are dealing with an impulsive structure. For example, if you want to say this is actually a complete impulse, okay, I guess you can argue that this is a wave 1, correction structure for wave 2, probably to somewhere around here, followed by that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up into wave 3, correction for 4, another move on the upside into wave 5. If you want to argue this is not a complete impulse yet, okay, this can be a 1 and a 2, but you can say, okay, maybe the end of our wave 3 is going to be right in here, correction for 4, another move up into wave 5, and this might be a 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into wave 3, correction for 4, another move up into wave 5. This is also a possibility. So what's the point that I'm trying to make? In Bitcoin, I'm gonna say it, there's actually a decent chance that we have hit some sort of a bottom in this area. And I'm gonna say, even in case that we are going to have a correction structure in this whole area in BTC and not an impulse, there's a decent chance that we are at least going to hold this bottom for quite some time. And if the bottom is in, which I do think that it is, okay, we are probably then going to start the next major phase of the bull run. And that brings me to this unbelievably important point. Nothing goes up straight, okay? I want you to understand this. And based on that, let's zoom in more and measure this shadow right in here. So this is about a 7% shadow, which is not normal. Usually when we get such a strong bounce backs in this phase up, we actually create some gaps. And again, you know my stance on them. Gaps 95+% of the time are going to get filled. So that's why I'm going to say in Bitcoin for now, we can argue that this is actually a 1, 2, and then maybe like 3, 4, 5. And this is a correction structure down. And I do believe that we are going to do probably something like this and reach to about these areas. So for the next couple of days in Bitcoin, do not be surprised in case that we get another move on the downside. This is absolutely normal. As long as overall in this phase, we are going to have some sort of a choppy and weak move down, we are definitely good to go up. And we can argue again, the bottom is in right in here. Now, here's a very important question. What is going to happen in this phase in a lot of altcoins. Okay, that brings me back to Bitcoin dominance. Okay, I told you, big shadows usually indicate that we are going to have some sort of a gap and they are going to most likely get filled. And what do we have in BTC.D? Definitely, this is a huge shadow. And I think if Bitcoin is going to go down, you are probably going to see Bitcoin dominance going up and doing something like this. And in this phase, well, unfortunately, altcoins are probably going to go down harder than BTC. So as a conclusion in here, I think in Bitcoin soon we're going to have a move on the downside, but that is going to be very normal. And I need you to understand that during that move down, alts are probably going to perform worse than Bitcoin. So if you hold altcoins, I want you to understand what might be next. Now, I'm going to now let you in on a bit of a secret. I think in Ethereum, probably we are going to have the opportunity of a lifetime. Why is that? Let me ask you this. What caused this strong move on the downside? If you haven't checked the news, this was actually because of a major Asian player getting liquidated. And again, this is important. Usually liquidation events lead to having some form of a bottom structure. And I was actually watching the chart when we were having this strong move on the downside, and I was just constantly asking myself, okay, what is causing Ethereum to go down probably a lot harder than some other alts? And a couple of hours later, I got my answer. I'm telling you right now, I believe in Ethereum. If Bitcoin is going to go down, we are also going to go down as well in order to fill some gaps around here. But because this move down was caused as a result of some liquidations, I'm going to say we are probably not going to have, for example, a very strong move down in order to take the lowest low down here about, let's say, $2,100. And this is why when we get something like this, or let's say if we get it, I am going to buy Ethereum big time. This for me is the opportunity of a lifetime. And I believe in this phase, the smart money is actually going to invest heavily on Ethereum. Why is that? Let's just delete everything, excuse me, and maybe go on H1 timeframe. Okay, let's say we are going to reach to about here around $2,300. What's the lowest low on Ethereum at the bottom of the bear market? It is around, let's say, $1,000. So in other words, this point is not really going to be that far off of its lowest low. And compared to other altcoins, Ethereum is kind of a safe bet. That's why, in my opinion, smart money is going to buy Ethereum in this phase big time. And I would definitely like to be one of those investors. Now, in terms of the targets, okay, this is important. In my opinion, at the end of the bull run, Ethereum is going to be bare minimum. This is a very important point. Bare minimum $10,000. That means, let's say, okay, around $2,200, I'm going to buy Ethereum. My stop loss can be under the lowest low around $1,000, and my minimum target is going to be around 10K. And basically, I am going to have about a 1:6 ratio in terms of risk to rewards, which is fantastic. So again, if we're going to get a move down in ETH, I want to tell you right now, I am going to buy it big time. And once more in daily time frame, we are having magnificent shadows, which means we are having some gaps in here, and gaps, in my opinion, are going to get filled. That's why I want to argue we are going to get a move on the downside. So let's have our final conclusion and wrap up today's market outlook. In my opinion, there's a good chance that we have actually hit some sort of a bottom in Bitcoin and a lot of altcoins, but nothing goes straight up. And because the bounce back was quite hard, I'm gonna say soon you are probably going to see a decent move down in BTC. Now, in that phase, because of the things that I showed you in Bitcoin dominance, I believe alts are going to perform worse than Bitcoin, meaning if Bitcoin is going to have, let's say, about like a 7% move down, alts are going to go down maybe like 20%, 25 to even, who knows, maybe 30%. And if you believe that our bull run is not over yet and we are going to start the next major phase of it soon, okay, I think the best place to be in these areas is actually Ethereum. That's why I am buying this thing when we get a move down big time. So I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Bitcoin and also altcoin market and what might be next in coming days and weeks. And until the next video, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.